Young Turks now has audio, the TYT Audio Network, podcasts of some of your favorite shows and new shows, including one with Nina Turner, former Ohio State Senator. She's going to do We the People with Nina Turner, talking about equality and justice and seeing that through the eyes of regular Americans who are affected by politics and policy. Everybody check it out at tyt.com/audio.
Donald Trump is currently in Singapore with for his meeting with Kim Jong-Un. This is an unprecedented and historical meeting. And even though there is some speculation about whether or not it will lead to any success in getting North Korea to agree to denuclearizing, there are some worries that this meeting might legitimize North Korea. I like that he's taking a diplomatic route, but we'll get to that in just a second. Now, the White House said that discussions between the United States and North Korea have moved more quickly than expected, while apparently removing the possibility for now that President Donald Trump's meeting with Kim Jong-un could extend into a second day. There were some questions about whether or not it would extend to a second day, and of course there's planning that goes into this, but on Trump's behalf, it seems as though, actually I know for a fact that there's been very little to no preparation. He is now focusing on foreign policy from a gut instinct model rather than, hey, I just listened to my advisors, I got all these different perspectives and this is how I'm gonna proceed type model, which is historically how things have been done when it comes to these types of situations. Trump and Kim are expected to sit down in a one-on-one meeting accompanied only by translators to be followed by a working lunch.
That'll be Trump's first working lunch.
Yeah, working lunch. With an expanded group of officials. So first it's gonna be a one-on-one thing with translators. Later they'll expand the meeting with other individuals. Now, I keep talking about how Trump prepared for this, but I want you to hear from Trump himself. So let's hear from him. What did he do to prepare for this meeting with Kim Jong-un?
Lucky us.
Yeah.
How long do you think it will take you to figure out whether he's serious about giving
Good
up?
question. How long will it take? I think within the first minute, I'll know.
How?
My touch, my feel. That's what I do. How long will it take to figure out whether or not they're serious? I said maybe in the first minute.
So he will know by his touch, his feel. It's what he does. Meeting with Kim Jong-un, he is one of the most dictatorial, evil people on this planet. And he's just gonna base everything on gut instinct, his touch and his feel, because it's what I do.
Well, the accord itself, if they can get to some kind of, first of all, a peace accord, you know, in a war that's essentially, it's an armistice, right? There hasn't been an official cessation of hostilities, but there hasn't been an end to the Korean conflict yet, officially. I mean, so there are a lot of ways you can get to positives in all of this without getting a full denuclearization. This is just a photo op. It's a one-day meeting with Kim. It's clearly a photo op. In a sense, he doesn't need to prepare. If you can shake hands and sit down for lunch, you can get through this day. Coincidentally, he wouldn't prepare even if it were a 2-week, 8-hour-a-day session that he was going to have to be leading. He wouldn't prepare in that case either. But this really is just a superficial meeting.
I mean, which is all Kim has wanted this whole time. This is why this meeting has not happened. It's not like this is some amazing feat. North Korea has wanted this meeting with prior presidents. And also, we're talking about his feel, his touch. That's how he knows if this is going to be a reliable negotiator. But history has shown us that this team is not. But I mean, I guess your touch, of course it's a photo op. That's all they want, just acknowledgement from the US.
So he elaborates on how he plans on using his gut instincts in this next clip.
You know, the way they say that you know if you're going to like somebody in the first 5 seconds? You ever hear that one? Well, I think that very quickly I'll know whether or not something good is going to happen. I also think I'll know whether or not it will happen fast. May not, but I think I'll know pretty quickly whether or not, in my opinion, something positive will happen.
Okay, So there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot I want to say. First, I agree with you, Mark, that this is the first, possibly only meeting he's going to have with Kim Jong-un, and it does feel a lot more like a photo op. With that said, I am happy that he's taking a more diplomatic route rather than tweeting insults at Kim Jong-un on Twitter. Right, like instead of talking about how big his button is and whatever, threatening nuclear war, that was a very bad time when it came to this whole North Korea nuclear weapons situation. Now, another thing that I'm a little concerned about, though, is even if everything goes well with this first meeting, even if there's a second meeting, and North Korea somehow agrees to denuclearize, would North Korea really trust the United States to uphold its side of the deal, which would be to lift the sanctions and also, end military operations with the South Koreans and the Japanese, which is one of the things that the North Korean government does not like. They want that to end immediately. I know that if I were Kim Jong-un, I would look at Trump and I would see how he reneges on all of these other deals. I would see how he constantly goes against allies, slaps sanctions on people, or increases tariffs or creates new tariffs. I would look at the way he treats allies and think to myself, I'm not an ally, I'm an enemy, I'm an adversary. Why would I trust him? Of course he could turn around and pull out of this deal at any moment. Those are the things that I'm considering and thinking about, and I'm curious if that goes through Kim Jong-un's mind, or if Trump's advisors are worried about that. The perception matters.
I mean, he's also looking in the mirror saying, I wouldn't trust myself.
Right.
There's that, and it's easy to go back to this time where my button is bigger than your time, but also remember where we were just 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. That was not polite. That letter was kind of nasty. It was all full of implied, hey, I'm cooler than you. Mm-hmm. It was weird. We were good, then we were bad. We were good, now we're having this meeting. And honestly, I mean, Dennis Rodman's there though. Maybe he'll save it.
It is true that this has been an on-again, off-again summit. And 2 points. First of all, Brooke is right that Kim gets a lot out of this meeting. Just on the superficial one-day meet, it's a photo op. This is what he's wanted. He's now on the world stage with the, quote, leader of the free world. All of a sudden, this is really what he wants, a place at the table to show the legitimacy of his regime. His regime is brutal. As you know, it's a gulag state. Mm-hmm. It's positively a horrifying life in North Korea. He's starving out his people to pay for weapon systems and so that he and his henchmen can live lavish lives. But all right, but there are a lot of bad people. Okay, you could say that. But point is, he is now legitimized by this meeting with Trump. So there's that. But Anna may have the point, which is, look, how can you make a deal with Donald Trump knowing that he may flip on that deal in 18 months, especially if it's a deal for your survival? That's all Kim cares about. He only cares about the survival of his regime. That's why I always thought there's really no threat of violence on the Korean Peninsula, because he doesn't want a war on the peninsula any more than we do. So I agree. The prospects of a legitimate agreement coming from this, I would think, are very small. But again, this one-day meeting is just a photo op. Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think the best thing that could happen is that Kim Jong-un doesn't do anything that Trump interprets as an insult, because all it would take is one small misinterpretation or interpretation of an insult for Trump to lose it, right? And so I just hope that it ends peacefully. I do not believe that North Korea will denuclearize. And I think that even if North Korea agrees to do so, it's unlikely that they will uphold their portion of the deal, because historically they have not done so. And I find it hard to believe that, for instance, South Korea would give North Korea some of the defectors back to the country, which is what North Korea wants. I mean, they're not going to give those defectors back. So we'll see how this all plays out. I'm just hoping that it ends peacefully.
Listen, the last footnote I would say to you Trumpies out there is that, look, Pompeo got the release of some Americans from North Korea. That was a win. Mm-hmm. Talking with Kim is a win. as Anna said, I'd rather have them talking than just trading insults. And we're all walking around thinking, oh my God, is this guy, he's crazy enough to launch.
Right.
And we're talking about our president when we're talking about that guy.
Yeah.
So there's something here that could be a net positive. I don't want to, lift my leg all over it just because it's Trump, even though I have no respect for the man. But what could come from all of this might be respectable.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.